no native title issues, and we think that at an EV of 4.6, we're presenting some fantastic values for the investor coming on board. So next slide. So here's the overview of the package. As you can see on the top of that map, we are located right next door to the township of Wellington, which is only 4 to 5 hours drive from Sydney. The package entails those three resources that I spoke to you about. The first one is Commonwealth Mine, which has got 70,800 ounces of gold, 1.3 million ounces of silver, and some copper, lead, and zinc. Right next door, we've got Silica Hill, which has 18,000 ounces of gold and 2 million ounces of silver. And at Galwadgere, immediately at the southern end, we've got just over 29,000 tons of copper and 31,000 ounces of silver. The tenement package is tightly held, just over 675 square kilometres. Based on the information that we've got from the impact portfolio, the resources are all open along strike and down dip. We've got numerous other projects and targets of high prospectivity, and we're located in a fantastic place for infrastructure, services, and people to work the story. So yes, let's move on to the next slide. So that's a quick overview of what we've just discussed. In total, we've got well over 5 million tons of material that have been identified containing the resources. In total, over 120,000 ounces of gold, 3.3 million ounces of silver, 30,000 tons of copper, 10,000 tons of zinc, and just over 4,500 tons of lead. I'd really like you to focus, though, on the fact that the silver inventory is fairly significant, and I think you'll find that there are very few people out there with such a fantastic start to an IPO as we have here. Next slide. Next, okay. So again, just focusing now on the region in general. As you can see, the projects are located in the top of that mapped area. We are located in the highly endowed Molong volcanic belt, which is located on the eastern side of the Lachlan Fold Belt. And as you can see, we are in fantastic territory. We have world-class mines all over the place within very close proximity to us. For example, Cadia Ridgeway, McPhillamys, North Parks, Tomingley, Cowell, and to the south Woodlawn. And you will find that this part of the world has been a hotbed of activity over the last 12 to 18 months. You'll see that on the right-hand side, there'll be a whole range of people and companies wheeling and dealing in the tenements and the projects. We've had reports recently that over the last 12 to 18 months, there's been something like $300 to $400 million worth of deals being done. And that just reflects the fact that we are in a very highly prospective part of the world. There's lots of interest, not only from the small caps, but also from the big caps. You'll see there a lot of the major mines and major companies looking to do deals with a whole bunch of other smaller players. So really a hotbed of activity, world-class area, and we're really looking forward to proceeding with this project. Next slide. So again, this is just looking at the immediate location of where we are. The tan area in that slide on the left-hand side indicates our tenements. The triangles illustrate copper, gold, and silver and tin mineralization that have been defined over many, many years. And because of that, this whole country is covered by exploration tenements by numerous companies, and will always be so, because it just purely reflects the fact that it's very pregnant with mineralization, and for that reason you've got all these explorers surrounding us, and those typical examples are those surrounding us on the right hand side. So lots of activity going on, and lots of activity in terms of the exploration potential. You'll notice that on the top of the map, you've got the recent Alkane Resources discovery, Boda and Kaiser discoveries, 14.8 million ounces of gold equivalent, just located over the fence line from us on a structure that trends into our tenement package as well. So we've got some fantastic upside purely from the porphyry side of things as well. And like I said, we were in a fantastic part of the world, and we are excited about our package going forward. So next slide. So we're right here at the right time, I think. We're looking at currently at the recent movements in the commodity prices, gold, silver, copper, all moving upwards and onwards. We think we've got the timing fairly well. And this is just a quick overview of what we're looking at. The top left-hand slide indicates the Silica Hill area looking north, with the Commonwealth Mine on the left-hand side and the right-hand side as well. Middle slide indicates drilling by Impact Minerals 3 or 4 years ago on Silica Hill looking south. And the bottom side on the left-hand side gives you an overview of the Galwadgere area, which has those identified resources as well. So next slide, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the projects themselves, I might now hand over to Mike Jones, who has a very deep understanding of these projects, Commonwealth, Silica, absolutely welcome Jack and Pine Hill. So Mike, over to you to provide an overview of those deposits.
Thanks very much, Mart. We'll go to the next slide. And again. Thanks. So I first met Mart probably over a decade ago, and Mart actually did some work for us on our Commonwealth and Silica Hill projects. And Mart always liked them, and came to us a couple of years ago and asked if he could take them on and put them into an IPO. And this is where we stand. And done a great job putting not just this project together, but also Galwadgere, which Mart will talk about, and a couple of other pieces of ground. I know Impact's going to be heavily involved in the company post-listing. I'm slated to come on as a non-executive director, and then also we will end up being the largest shareholder in Burrendong, and also still hold quite a bit of the project, because we put a lot of money and intellectual property, and I believe that Commonwealth and Silica Hill are overlying something that could be very, very significant, and we're looking forward to this first drill program. So there's a lot of words on this slide, but basically the Commonwealth Mine is a volcanogenic massive sulfide system. Small lenses of very high grade gold, silver, zinc and lead with some copper, and there's an increasing amount of copper at depth. So the Commonwealth Mine has been known about for like 100 years or so, but we discovered a new deposit called Silica Hill, just only a few hundred meters along trend from Commonwealth, which is more of a conventional epithermal gold and silver stockwork of veins, and some spectacular silver values up to sort of thousands of grams per ton silver. And it was a very interesting discovery. And it just needs more drilling, and that's what Mart and Burrendong are going to do when they list. So, and we define those resources that have been talked about. Okay, next. So some spectacular grades there. I'll let you read some of those, but 10 meters at 7 grams gold and 216 grams silver, 15% zinc and 3.5% lead. That's from main shaft. That is the massive sulfide deposit. We found one lens there, reasonably well defined, but we, in one of our last phases of drilling, found indications of a second and third lens at depth underneath, which are all open and never been drilled. So that's going to be one of the first targets. Over at Silica Hill, some of the deposits there, we've ended up with sort of thousands of grams per meter, which kind of average out, but narrow, very high grade results. Here we go, gold values carrying between 1.5 grams to 23 grams gold. We've got 680 grams silver and 1,176 grams silver. And when you analyze the individual veins, we're getting up to 6,000 grams per ton silver. So extraordinary grades and very exciting. Thanks. Next. This is what we call a long section of main shaft on Commonwealth. So we're covering an area here from left to right of about 400 meters. And in the colors there are grade times thickness. So what we've done is taken the gold values and multiplied them by the thickness in the drill holes. And we can see that the purple colors are greater than 50 grams per ton. The red is greater than 20 grams and the orange is greater than 10 grams. And a good rule of thumb is that you need at least 10 grams per ton grade times thickness, 10 gram meters, to make a good open pit. So you can see that in the top 150 meters there, we've got the makings of a very high grade open pit. We've shown some chutes there that are going at depth and they are all open. They require drilling, and Mart has put on some of the drill hole locations for the first round of drilling. You'll also notice that on the left-hand side, there's green colors there going deep underneath the deposit, and we're getting increasing copper at depth in the footwall to the deposit. And we believe that we might have something like a porphyry at depth underneath this particular system. There's some very unique features about this deposit, which lead us to think that, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Next. This is a cross-section now looking at Commonwealth, again on the left. You can see main shaft, there is the massive sulfide resource in the dark red thin lens type unit. And then overlying it then we have Silica Hill. And there's some of our discovery holes here from 68 meters at 1.1 gram per ton gold equivalent, hiding all of the super high grades that we've got there. But we can see that the system goes down to the right there and some significant target zones at depth. And in the pale purple there on the right-hand side, what we're looking at there is a very significant and large silver halo. So virtually all of that rock there is running sort of between 1 and 10 grams per ton silver. Now, that's not economic, but it just shows you that the scale, there's an enormous amount of silver in that particular unit there, and indicative of a very significant mineralized system. And we've really only scratched the surface in the work that Impact did. Next. And I'll just show you this. This is some geophysics that we did, and there is actually a very significant deep target, probably 100, 200 meters below main shaft. And if you recall, I talked about increasing copper at depth, and we believe that there's something quite significant underlying main shaft, and that will be also one of the first targets that will be drilled by Burrendong. Next. Now, one of the reasons that we've always been excited about the Commonwealth area in Silica Hill is that this deposit is the only one that I know of in Australia that shows extreme similarities to one of the world's most famous mines, and that's the Eskay Creek mine in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia, one of the richest mining centres on the planet. Quite amazing. This was operated in the early 2000s by Barrick, and they produced about 4 million ounces of gold and 150 million ounces of silver. And the average gold grade was over 1 ounce per ton gold. It was the 5th largest silver producer in its time, and it was the 2nd richest gold mine. It was the best deposit of its class in the world, and they're called, whilst it's a VMS, as we've discussed, it is a high sulfidation gold-rich VMS, and we did a lot of work on Commonwealth showing the similarities to Eskay Creek. Next. This is just a quick map showing you the layout of some of the lenses of massive sulfide that were found by Barrick. Since the mine closed down, it was taken on by a junior company, Skeena Resources. They've since doubled and tripled the gold resource. I think 8 million ounces of gold is still in the ground and another 200 million ounces of silver. It really is one of the world's great deposits, and they found more of these little lenses. But the thing to look at here is the scale of them. Most of them are quite narrow. They're sort of only 10 to 20 meters thick. They run for 50 to 100 meters, but the big one, zone 21B there in the brown, that ran for nearly 500 meters, and one of the richest pieces of massive sulfide anywhere on the planet. So these things are quite difficult to drill. They just need a lot of drilling. So next. This is a cross-section showing the lenses in the yellow unit, the thin yellow unit, and there's some black units there. Those are the massive sulfides. Next. And what I've done there, just superimpose at the same scale the cross section through that map there, so you can see in the red there is the lens 21B, and we can see multiple little lenses at different depths all through the system. Next. So if we compare the things at the same scale, here is a map of Commonwealth. The Commonwealth resource is shown in the dark purple there in the bottom left, and then Silica Hill is to the north there in the red in the center of the image. And if we just overlay Escape Creek on the top of that, so next. Okay, you can see that we've really only just clipped the surface. There's been no drilling at depth along this particular trend, and there's huge potential to hide millions of ounces of gold underneath Silica Hill. Ourselves what lies under Silica Hill, and that's a question that Burrendong is going to answer for us. We'll just look at that in section next. That's the cross section that I showed earlier, and go again. Okay, and you can see that at the same scale, we've really only just tipped the surface of what could be at depth in the Commonwealth area. So it is a fantastic deposit, and we worked hard to get it to this stage, and we're looking forward to keep drilling it. Next. So I'll just finish by showing that the mineralization, we've just zoomed out a little bit. In the white is the ground that Burrendong will take, and there's some very significant regional barium anomalies in stream sediments in government data. And over on the left there, Yeovil is actually a modest porphyry copper deposit, and there's very significant barium there. And we believe again that this barium is an indicator of potential porphyry coppers at depth. Next slide. And just zooming in on that Commonwealth area again, we can see that there's there's some huge areas of barium anomalism, none of which have been drilled, in particular out to the east there, the Yarragal trend. There's a 5 kilometre long trend there, very anomalous barium, not a single drill hole into it, and a few gold shows. So an indication of some of the exciting targets that are going to emerge as Burrendong puts all this together. Next. And this is the proposed drill program. So most of these holes were designed by ourselves a couple of years ago. Mart's added a few more. It's basically fully permitted, ready to go. There's 3,000 meters of RC and diamond to come on the first program, and that should be able to start within a month of them listing. And I think that's Commonwealth. Next. Oh, a few slides here, just showing you the sort of ground. It is very accessible. Yeah, it is very accessible, and then there's a picture of Mart there on the old Commonwealth slag heap, and it's a really easy place to get to and a really beautiful place to work. Next. All right, I'll hand back to you, Mart.
Okay, thanks, Mike. That was excellent. Yeah, let's go on to the next slide. So this is a quick overview of the Galwadgere deposit, which is located immediately to the south of Commonwealth and Silica Hill. Just gives you an overview of the countryside that we're dealing with and the actual old workings. On the bottom right-hand corner there, you'll see the Managing Director of Sky Metals, with whom we did the deal to acquire this particular project, Oliver Davis. So we've got very good, easy to get to countryside, and we're looking forward to getting stuck into this place as well. Next slide. Okay, so this is now looking at the detail for Galwadgere. We've got 3.6 million tonnes at 0.82% copper, and that's just under around about 30,000 tonne of copper in ground, 0.27 grams per tonne gold. You'll see that the area has been drilled in the past, including some recent drilling 3 or 4 years ago by Sky Metals in red. The main workings, though, is that's where the resource lies. The thing about this particular project is that it lies on the Nindathara Thrust, which is a major geological feature that goes all the way up to Commonwealth Mine and Silica Hill, which is some 7 to 8 kilometres north of where we are here. This particular geological feature goes well south as well, and along that particular structure there are multiple occurrences of gold and silver and copper mineralization, which we are also very keen to look at. So we move on to the next slide. Okay, this is a long section at the current drilling information. On the left hand side is south, and right hand side is north. You'll see all the old drill intercepts in purple. and the panels that you see illustrated all represent copper values greater than 0.5% copper, and the different colors merely represent various loads or structures within that general mineralized zone. So this has led to, and what you should notice also is that you'll see there's numerous gaps beneath all that drilling which are open, indicating that there are areas there that are ripe for initial drilling. And that has led to the next slide, which indicates a number of targets that we've identified. It's a bit of a blurry slide, but in essence, what we've done is identify a whole range of targets, and these will be now focused on. And to that extent, we have lodged with the Mines Department in New South Wales an application for 16 drill holes in this particular area. So moving on. And again, this slide just again emphasizes the prospectivity of the Nindithara thrust. These prospects and projects are located to the north and south of the Galwadgere workings, and just indicate that this whole structure is very prospective for copper, gold, and silver mineralization. So much to do, and so many juicy targets to zero in on. Next slide. So this is a proposed schedule of activities once the funds have been raised. Our immediate focus is going to be the Commonwealth Hill and Silica Hill projects. We're looking at drilling those targets within 1 month or so of the capital raise being completed. You should note that we have, as Mike indicated, drilling approvals are in place for this campaign of roughly 12 holes. The landowner access agreements are in place. All of the land is owned by the one landowner, who happens to be an earth moving outfit, and they're very keen for us to commence because we're going to be using him for clearing some of the old drill pads and access tracks. So we've got everything lined up to go. And we believe that we are very much on track to get this thing up and running within a month or so of the listing. That will be followed then by the Galwadgere Project, and as I indicated, an application for 16 holes have been lodged. We're waiting for approvals to come through on that. We anticipate getting those approvals in the next month or two. And then at the same time, we'll be looking at those other projects that Mike mentioned as well. Because there's considerable upside in those areas as well. But I wanted to focus and emphasize the fact that we are looking at the initial drilling program to focus on the resources that have already been identified at Commonwealth and Silica Hills in particular. What we want to do is expand on those resources immediately, if we can, double, triple, whatever. But we feel that that's the absolute upside in terms of developing these projects, and that's the immediate upside for us once we get going. So next slide. So just looking at some of the other projects, Mike, did you want to have a quick description of these ones as well?
Yeah, sure. Look, absolutely, we drilled a few years ago, found a very large low-grade copper halo that needs more drilling at depth, and to focus in looking for a ridgeway style mineralization. Next, I'll sort of rush on given time's pushing a little bit there. And then around the Commonwealth, I mentioned the Yarragle project, but there's many other prospects, Welcome Jack in particular, and Walls out there just to the east. Some really interesting, both the rock chips, limited drilling, but some sort of 20-meter thick gold silver zones found there in our early drilling. And again, just going back to the SK Creek analogy, no drilling at depth, plenty of work to be done there. Next. And Pine Hill, some absolutely really outstanding gold, copper, and tin results down in this project, and we were never able to get to this. Too busy up at Commonwealth. This is quite a virgin area. Again, very limited drilling, plenty of upside, and some very good landowners down there for access. So lots of things to get stuck into. Next. Back to
Okay,
you,
so
Mark, I think.
thanks, Michael. Just coming back now to the background story, the deals that we've done with Impact Minerals and Sky Metals. With respect to the deal with Impact Minerals, on completion of the IPO, Burrendong will acquire a 51% interest in the Commonwealth, Silica Hill, and other tenements. All of the tenements other than Galwadgere are found within Impact Minerals' wholly owned subsidiary called Endeavour Minerals. So we at the IPO we end up with 51% of that subsidiary company. Impact also get 12.5% equity in the IPO. We pay them some cash, and then we go on to spend $5 million over 3 years to earn an additional 24%. So we're looking very much at a very busy several years down the track, and we're going to be generating a lot of excitement. As far as the Galwadgere project is concerned, that's a simple deal. We end up owning 100% of the title, no strings attached, and Sky Metals ends up with 3 million shares in the Burrendong Minerals IPO. Next slide. So just having a quick overview of the corporate structure. Next slide. So here you see the minimum and maximum raises. Minimum raise is 5 million, maximum raise is 6 million. You'll see the shares under offer to the public. Those come with 1 to 2 attaching options. You'll see that there will be at the IPO shares issued to both Impact Minerals, Sky Metals, directors, and Novus Capital, the manager, broker, and you'll end up with a market cap of 9.6 in the minimum and just over 10 for the maximum raise. The enterprise value 4.6, 4.8. So we think that's fantastic value going forward. Next slide. So in terms of the spend, we're just using the minimum raise of 5 million. 3 million of that will go directly into the ground. And you'll see on the right-hand side a table indicating where that money is going. You'll see that half of it, 1.5 roughly, is going into Commonwealth Mine, Silica Hill. A quarter is going into Galwadgere, and a quarter will be spread across the other projects. So at the end of the day, money in the ground, that's what we're interested in, because that's where the excitement is going to be coming from. In general terms, over the 2-year period, we're looking at 6,000 meters of diamond and RC drilling at Commonwealth and Silica Hill, 3,000 at Galwadgere, and several hundred meters over the other projects. Next slide. So the current indicative timetable is that we're looking at closure on the 6th of December with a listing due in mid-December 20th. We're still focusing very much on that. We believe that whilst we may not make it exactly at that time, we will certainly keep this thing going, because we believe that it's a fantastic project, and we are looking at all options in that regard. So next slide. So in terms of the management of the company, you'll see that myself, I'm a geologist, been involved in the exploration business for many decades, and a lot of that time has been spent in New South Wales. In addition, because of my involvement in New South Wales, I also very familiar with the bureaucracy that you need to deal with these days, and that's the Mines Department or the EPA, native title issues, land access agreements. All of those things have had a huge range of expertise and involvement in. At the same time, Dr. Mike Jones will be coming on board. His expertise in particular on the Commonwealth and Silica Hill will be warmly welcomed, and we look forward to his contribution. The other guys, Ian Londish and Mark Olsen, have also been involved in mining companies. So we've got a very good background in terms of the management and leading the company to greater and bigger things. So next slide. In terms of the actual work that's going to be done, We're going to be very much a lean and mean outfit. We're going to be using consultants and contractors who have actually worked some of these projects in the past for other clients. They are all hugely experienced in New South Wales, well regarded, and we will be using these folks on an as-needed basis. We're not going to be hiring anybody at all. All of these people will be working from their regional or home offices, and we look forward to maximising everybody's value in the ground. Next slide. So just to recap on the whole story. Number one, we have 3 projects with JORC 2012 compliant resources. We are located in a fantastic part of the world. We are located in the Lachlan Fold Belt, a world-class province for all sorts of mines, world-class mines, particularly for precious and base metals. We have fantastic upside in terms of other exploration targets within those tenements. We are located in a fantastic part of the world for infrastructure, year-round access. We have land access agreements in place for the main projects, no native title issues, and we think at an EV of 4.6, we represents fantastic value. And to cap off, once we get drilling, the news flow coming out of our projects will be ongoing and will be fairly interesting and exciting for everybody. So thanks for that that overview, the opportunity to present the story. We look forward to everybody coming on board because we are in for an exciting period of time. Thanks, Shay. Whoop.
You're muted, Shay.
Wow, you wouldn't believe that I'm a professional, and look at that. Listen, let's go take 2, guys. All the joys of doing these things live, hey? Mike and Mart, thank you so much for your rundown of the project. It certainly does sound exciting. For everybody listening, now that you can hear me, you're actually welcome to pop some questions for both Mike and Mart into the chat. We are monitoring all of the chats that this is being broadcast on. So please put your questions down and I'll relay them to Mike and Mart. But I've got a couple of questions on my own that I wouldn't mind kicking off with. Mart, I'm going to start with you. Now, let's be honest, there's some big guys out in the Lachlan Fold Belt, some incredible, incredible multi-generational mines out here. Tell me, is the neurology important when it comes to developing these assets out in the Lachlan Fold Belt?
Well, Shane, look, neurology is just a term that you people sometimes use, but the fact is that we are in a place called the Lachlan Fold Belt, which is host to all this mineralization, world famous deposits of gold, silver, and base metals. So the fact is that we are, yes, near to many of these projects, which basically highlights the fact that we are in the right part of the world to find more discoveries like this going forward. So we are, as you say, very excited to move forward because we are in the right part of the world, world-class area, world-class discoveries, and Burrendong is going to be finding the next big deposit.
Before I move to a question for Mike, I'm just going to stay with you for a moment, Mart. Now, you outlined obviously quite an extensive exploration project and funding for all of the 3 main projects that you are acquiring. Tell me, what does the sort of timeline look around, though, for these, in particular, the Commonwealth and Silica Hill projects?
Okay, well, like I said, once the funding is in place, we should be in a position to start drilling on the Commonwealth and Silica Hill deposits in particular within a month or so of those funds being in place. Now, what that means is that we will be generating information and data about the drilling on an ongoing basis. And as we have seen in the past, the drilling is going to be quite exciting because we'll be able to have people on site who will be looking at the core or the drill chips on an ongoing basis. The samples will be going to a laboratory very quickly, and the turnaround time for getting results for those intersections that we'll be finding will no doubt be the basis for numerous ASX releases on an ongoing basis. So we'll be working away, and I should point out that as we drill and as we find the information coming out of the ground, it will then generate a continual overview of the data, because each drill hole will be revealing its secrets, and it may well then emphasize one particular aspect or another, which will then generate the next drill hole. So it'll be very exciting. We'll be going forward on a continual basis over over a number of months, probably 3 to 4 months, I would imagine, for maybe the first program of drilling to be completed. The only rider there, of course, is we have to be wary of the weather, bushfire events or what have you. So we need to be very mindful of the environment. But at the end of the day, we don't see anything that's going to stop us. Like I said, we'll be drilling fairly consistently and on an ongoing basis for several months at the Commonwealth and Silica Hill projects.
Just for anybody listening, just a reminder that we are taking questions for the next 5 minutes. So please pop anything in the chat function on the platform that you are watching this video, and we'll get Mart and Mike to answer them for you. Now, Mike, I've got a little bit of a curly one for you, seeing as you've been around for a market cycle or two. Tell me, obviously you're looking for copper, obviously Burrendong Minerals is looking for copper, gold and silver. Does the current pricing cycle of gold and silver in particular have any impact on what Burrendong Minerals is doing?
Well, it certainly does. Obviously, big news today that Northern Star is taking over De Grey. So that's certainly ringing the bell for something there for the gold price. So it's look, the last 6 months in particular has been excellent for gold. People are becoming more aware yet again of how valuable it is as an underpin to the world's financial system, and we've also seen silver as well starting to take a bit of a run, and lots of talk of being a bit of a silver deficit going forwards. So look, timing is perfect, and I think certainly the deals that Mart has referred to, that we've got Anglo Ashanti, I think Fortescue, a couple of the other big ones, all doing deals in the last 12 to 18 months in the Lachlan, indicates that these companies have taken a long-term view that this part of the world is extremely prospective, and with gold prices, silver prices running where they are, then it's a great time. And of course, copper, Dr. Copper, definitely going to need a lot of copper going forward. So it's the holy trinity: gold, silver, and copper, and it's a great place to be there in the Lachlan.
Mart, I might come back to you for just a moment. I have one question for you, and this is regarding Burrendong Minerals exploration packages compared to other neighbouring projects in the area. So obviously there's a few companies out there exploring in the Lachlan Fold Belt. How does Burrendong Minerals tenements compare to the others around them?
Well, our tenement package is fantastic. I don't think you'll find very many IPOs of our scale that have any resources whatsoever to talk about, but we've got 3 JORC compliant resources, and I don't think you can beat that anywhere at the moment, and that's why I think our package represents fantastic value at this current stage. EV of 4.6 million. It's a world beater, and like I said, we are going to be focusing on drilling and increasing the resources located at Commonwealth and Silica Hill in the first instance. So we're going to have an exciting news flow for many months once we get listed.
Thank you very much. And just again, we're probably down to taking our final couple of questions for everyone listening. Mike, I am going to come back to you for this particular question. What are the key risks and challenges associated with exploring and developing precious and base metals projects in the Lachlan Fold Belt?
So that's probably a reference perhaps to the recent decision via Tanya Plibersek overturning the McPhillamys development approvals. The particular area that we're in, the landowners very pro the mining industry. So in fact, as Mart alluded to, one landowner has a contracting business, made a lot of money working out of Cobar, and then the other guy's actually an ex-driller, so he loves having us on his ground. So certainly land access is all good. No native title issues of note, but people should be aware that the plebiscite ruling is a federal ruling, and that could have affected any project anywhere in Australia. So it's not specific to New South Wales. That McPhillamys was fully permitted under New South Wales law. So look, that's a risk of having the Albanese government in place, and so we shall see what happens. But look, I've worked in many places around the world. People say New South Wales is difficult. The bureaucracy is a little bit cumbersome, but as Mart's got all the experience there to work his way through it, and here we are, ready to drill. So we just keep going.
I might just come back to you, Mart, for what might be the final question, as we do need to look at wrapping up, unless somebody's got one more they want to try and sneak in. Mart, let's talk about the area you're looking for right now. You mentioned before that it was sort of pregnant with potential. Can you elaborate on what that means with these tenements?
Okay, well, look, I think Mike described very closely and expertly the mineralization that's located at Commonwealth and Silica Hill, and also at Galwadgere. Now, the point is that these resources occur within a geological environment that is extremely prospective for many, many kilometres, both up and down, north and south of Galwadgere and Commonwealth and Silica Hill. So it's a reflection of the geology that we're looking at. The style of mineralization is unbelievable in terms of its richness in these parts of the world. So as we've discussed previously, the drilling to date has highlighted numerous directions for us to drill on, and as I indicated, we are merely in the first instance looking to expand the current resources that we have at Commonwealth Mine and Silica Hill. So we look forward to starting that ASAP.
Listen, gentlemen, we may have to wrap up today's conversation right here because we're in danger of running over time. I just want to say thank you so much for both of you explaining what's happening with Burrendong Minerals. Also, too, I think the ticker that you have been gifted is a positive omen for this initial public offering that you're running through. Thank you so much for being here today, and I just cannot wait to see what lies ahead for Burrendong Minerals.
Absolutely. Thanks, Shay.
Thanks, Shay.